It was a homecoming to remember. The Cardinal football team hands Carroll a 62-7 loss in front of the North Central faithful. Cardinals moved to 8-0, and former head coach Jeff Thorne is inducted into the Hall of Fame. You could say it was a good week for the football program. We'll talk about all that and more next on the Red Zone.
Presenting sponsor of the Red Zone is Athletico, the preferred provider of physical therapy and athletic training for North Central College.
Another efficient outing from Rudder. The defense, stingy as always. Let's check out the highlights from the Cardinals' 62-7 win against Carroll.
Opening possession, and it takes just 7 plays for Rudder in the offense to march 65 yards.
Back to the air, seam down the middle, and Nolan Brannick is into the end zone from 18 yards out. Cardinals strike first at 6-0.
4-touchdown catch for Brannick. Cardinal defense looking every bit as good. Billy Dowds and Amante Logan get to the quarterback, Kyle Burlingame, forcing the incompletion. Pioneers forced to punt. Rudder and company back near the red zone.
Here's a play-action fake. Rudder deep over the middle, and, well, Alex Ulmer has nobody around him as he hauls it in the end zone for his 5th catch of the day.
And then NCC goes for 2.
Pitch out to Liam Crotty, and Liam Crotty is into the end zone for the 2-point conversion. That is awesome.
Defensive line wreaking havoc. Andrew Cray and Billy Dowds credited for the sack, but Amante Logan, Josh Leonard also in there. Another Carroll punt. And then on their 3rd possession, more points. The fullback, Justin Shaw, coming out of the backfield and finding nothing but an open field and the ball. 38-yard touchdown toss. Cardinals lead 22-0. He also had a touchdown against Wheaton 2 weeks ago. Burlingame still struggling. Nick Horn goes from tight end to defensive end and nabs his first sack. Cardinal offense becoming a bit of a broken record.
To his right. The Cardinals will opt to hand it off. Stretch play near side. Connick in for the score. Cardinals 4 touchdowns in the opening quarter.
Back to the defense. They're still doing their thing. Tommy Sora with the sack. 29-0 lead after the first quarter. Second quarter. Cardinals not slowing up.
Play to the backside corner, and it is caught by Ryan Cool. The 6'4" wide receiver went right up and over the top of Cameron Casaro for the touchdown, and it's 35-zip. Handoff, right side.
Nice cut.
There's Connick. Woo! And he's gone.
What vision? Did you see that? I mean, he was on his path.
That's Connick's 2nd touchdown of the day. Jeff Thorne feeling some good vibes. Offense just humming along. Connick wasn't done, though, with the Pioneers. The freshman pounds his way across the goal line, so a hat trick for number 36. Cardinals take a 49-0 lead. Former players digging it.
Until halftime, Peter Mann waving to the camera. Hey, Peter.
Cardinal defense still suffocating. The pass intercepted by Brandon Kibbe, his 2nd of the season. Pioneers with just 141 yards of offense. O'Shane Brown in the game late. The senior back gets a pair of touchdown strikes. The Cardinals advance to 8-0, winning on homecoming. They also win for former head coach Jeff Thorne, who was inducted into the Hall of Fame earlier in the day, and it's even his birthday. A trip to Carthage comes up next for NCC.
Welcome into the Red Zone. Coach Jeff Thorne is on set first. And Coach, big win against Carroll. Efficient win. You came right out, you took the lead, and you carried it all the way through. Was that probably the most complete win you guys have had this season?
Yeah, I think we played really well in all 3 phases again. The defense was tremendous, as it's been all season long, and we were really efficient on offense, particularly there in the first half. First several series, we were able to get points and give ourselves a lead, and it makes it difficult on the other team when you're chasing that early in the game.
offensive game planning, because it came out and it looked like you guys knew exactly what Carroll wanted to do on defense. Between you and Brad Spencer, are you guys confident week in and week out that you're going to be as prepared as you absolutely need to be?
Well, that's the goal. Coach Wilson, our offensive line coach, is heavily involved with our planning as well. That's the goal every week, to make sure we've got a good sound plan that give our players the best opportunity to be successful. But we always have to remember there's a group of guys on the other side of the field that are playing in the same way to make things difficult on us. So we were very pleased with the way the guys executed the plan that we had in place, and it worked out pretty well, as you saw.
Talk about execution. Brock Rudder continues to just efficiently move the football. Second time he's claimed CCIW Offensive Player of the Week. Yeah. 4 more touchdowns, only missed 3 passes. I mean, the guy is just an absolute complete package at quarterback for you guys.
He's doing a great job, as we've discussed all season long. We'll need that again this week. We're facing a very, very good Carthage team that's going to pose some different problems for us in terms of how they play defense. They're very active, so we're going to need him to be at his best this week, and our receivers and offensive line and running backs and protection. So, we've got a challenge ahead of us.
All 4 running backs made an appearance in this game and all made a big impact, too. And I want to talk about the guy that probably started the season lowest on the depth chart, which was Will Connick, comes in and makes some beautiful plays in the run game. Yeah,
he is explosive. I think we talked about him a little bit last week after the way he played at Carthage, or at Augustana, rather. But, he's very fast. He's very tough. He breaks tackles. And, we'll see, when we look at some film, he knows how to put his foot in the ground and get vertical and go to the goal line. All things that you have to have as a running back. He did some incredible things in high school. He had a game where he had over 400 yards rushing. So he came to us, highly capable. So we're not totally shocked that he's having a lot of success.
Now, you guys have been looking at the offensive line for progression over the course of the season. It looked like they took another positive step in this game. Is that what you guys saw as well?
Yeah, we were able to run for 250 yards. That was really good to see. And as you said, 4 different guys were heavily involved in that. And that's a testament to the guys up front opening up holes on a consistent basis so that those guys can go to the goal line.
Now let's talk about the defensive side, because, they did give up 7 points. I know they aim for the shutout every time. I'm sure they're a little bitter about that, but, you talk about this first unit defense. They continue to dominate, and it's the 4 guys up front that they don't even need guys helping them behind blitzing. They're getting to the quarterback by themselves.
Yeah, I think we had another stat sheet with tackles that was, you almost need a scroll to see every guy that had a tackle, and our leading tackler had 5 again. So, again, you're just seeing so many guys participating. It's great for the program, because the more guys are involved on Saturdays, the better it is for everybody. They all feel like they've got a real responsibility and a piece of the pie, so to speak. And their defense is just doing a great job. I'm thrilled with how they're playing.
Guys like Hunter LeDuc, Nick Lynch, Jason Ochoa got in the game and made a big impact later in the game. Is that nice to see the guys second on the depth chart, but coming up and playing as if they're the number 1?
Yeah, and even, go further, Zach Greenberg at that same position with Hunter LeDuc and where Tyler Oakley plays, he goes in the game and had 5 tackles in about a quarter and a half. So, it's exciting to see all those guys get rewarded for working hard all week in practice and having an opportunity to go out on Saturday and make some plays.
One play in particular that I wanted to touch on was the 2-point conversion to Liam Crotty.
Yeah.
How fun was that when you guys dialed that up?
That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. Dylan just has to read, what's happening out on the perimeter, and typically we'd like to see him put his foot in the ground and go to the goal line, but their defense did a really nice job of stringing him out, and one of the options is the pitch to Liam. And it was fun to watch him get in the end zone.
And we talked about it last week, but the Hall of Fame induction, your father inducted. Did you get to take in the ceremony? Or you were?
Oh, yeah.
How was that?
Fantastic. Yeah, it was absolutely awesome. Whole family was there. A bunch of former players were there. And, the speech he gave and the words that he shared were, again, impactful.
He shared the story of the statue out in front of Myrner. I'm sure you've heard that quite a few times, but does that still resonate with you, the way that he takes the Red Grange philosophy and made it the Cardinal philosophy?
Absolutely, because I played, in that Red Grange. In those years I played for him. So just watching it all, unfold as it has, and the success that he was able to have both at Wheaton South and Wheaton Central, Wheaton Warrenville South, and now at North Central College, it's really been a lot of fun, and it's been great to be a part of it with him. I couldn't imagine anything different. Just been such a special gift.
It's been a lot of fun to watch. I want to finish breaking down Carroll in a little bit. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Check the Tape is next on the Red Zone.
Don't worry, the 74 people were picked before me in the NFL draft.
To fight childhood obesity, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play more. To donate or volunteer, go to unitedway.org/play60.
Now I get it.
Welcome back to the Red Zone. Now it's time to get a sneak peek inside the film room. It's time for Check the Tape.
This Red Zone segment is sponsored by M&M Rentals.
Coach, first play I want to get to is the defensive line, and maybe Andrew Cray gets credit for this sack, but it's all 4 guys who are in there, and they always say this, meet at the quarterback. They literally met at the quarterback on this particular play.
Yeah, Andrew beat a double team there initially, really did a great job, and I thought he was the first there, but then the other 3 met him in short order. So great job by all 4 of those guys getting after the quarterback.
It seemed like 4 different techniques. You know, you got Josh Leonard on the outside, a little bit of a bull rush. You have Billy Dowds coming off the edge, and Amonte Logan and Andrew Cray are just beasts on the inside. Is it a lot of fun for you as an offensive coach to see them not having to go up against your offense?
Yeah, I would not want to face our defense and as active as our front 4 is right now. It's, as a head coach, it's great. So I get to watch from the sidelines.
Now, the next play I want to get to is Will Connick, and as a freshman, this kind of vision is impressive, and the ability to make the cut, not just see it, but actually make the cut is pretty cool to see.
Yeah, it's, again, mentioned put your foot in the ground and go to the goal line. He did that really quickly, and that's not an easy thing to do. Because he's running fast to begin with, laterally, puts his foot in the ground and gets vertical to the goal line. It's a special trait that the really, really good running backs have.
Now, we see it from the center field cam, and you can see the hole develop, but when you're actually on the field, how difficult is that to diagnose as a running back?
Well, that's another one of the really special characteristics of great running backs. You'll hear it all the time, is vision. You have to see the thing evolve. It's not going to just appear right when you want it to appear. You have to see what's happening and see how your linemen are, engaging with the defender, and where's their hat placement. Vision is absolutely critical in so many things athletically, but as a running back, it's really, really critical.
Now, the final play, and speaking of vision, how about Brock Rudder right here, seeing the coverage and being able to put the ball where only Ryan Kuhl can get it?
Yeah, that's a great throw, because that's not bad coverage by 42. He's right in our hip pocket, but we've got a 6'5" receiver, and Brock takes advantage of that and throws it up high where he can get it, and only he can get it. So much of what we've seen over the course of the year just continues to play at a high level.
Let's talk about Carthage, because they're on deck. This is a team that we know is very good. They've lost to Illinois Wesleyan and Wheaton by a combined 10 points. So as you prepare for them, what have you seen from them that's maybe going to give you guys some difficulties?
They're really, really talented. Yeah. There's some very good football players on the field, a lot of speed. Their front 4 defensively and their 2 linebackers really are outstanding players. I think both linebackers are returning all-conference players. So we have a big challenge ahead of us, and we know that. We knew that before the season started, that this was going to be a game, because you can just see what Coach Yeager's doing there with his staff. They're doing a great job recruiting and building a really, really solid program. They've got an identity on offense and defense both. So they're doing great things. We know what kind of challenge it's going to be.
Last year it was a 41-17 score, but I would probably say it felt closer than that
no
up
question.
in Kenosha. That's a tough environment to go up and play in.
I think it was 14-3 or 14-0 at halftime, and we fumbled the very first play on a snap that got away, miscommunication. But they had a short field, and it was a pretty highly contested game. We had a couple big plays, but every year we go up there, we always have a really, really good football game with them. They play really hard. They're physical. Like I said, they're fast. So we're going to have to be on point.
It's going to be a lot of fun to take that ball game in. Yeah. Coach, good luck up in Kenosha.
Thanks,
and we'll see you next week on the Red Zone.
Okay.
Coming up next, Nolan Brannick joins me on set. We'll be right back on the Red Zone.
Don't let E. coli mosh with your food. An estimated 3,000 Americans die from a foodborne illness each year. So always separate raw meat from vegetables. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
He picked up his 4th touchdown catch of the season this past Saturday, and now Nolan Brannick is here and on set. Now, Nolan, this offense is a lot of fun to watch. How is it playing in this kind of offense that's scoring basically at will sometimes?
Right, absolutely. It's a ton of fun. So, we've had a blast this year. Brock has been a great addition to the program, to the team especially. He's a goofy kid. We all enjoy. He fits right in, and we have a lot of laughs with him and everything. And as a group, I mean, we're a loose group. We like to have a lot of fun. But when it's time to work, we get down to it and we really focus and lock in and go to work. But yeah, like you said, it's a lot of fun, and all the receivers on the outside have done a phenomenal job all year. Alex and Dylan and Ryan, of course, come to mind. But then Corey before he got hurt, and Mike Spikas has been a great replacement for Corey and has done a great job on the outside as well. And those 5 guys up front, though they're young, have definitely made a lot of progress and have a lot of fun playing with them. And I'm always in meetings with them at the tight end and everything. And we have a lot of fun in there with Coach Wilson, and it's been a blast.
Now, Brock comes in. He's listed as a freshman on the roster, but he's more of a sophomore.
Right.
He's stepped in, and it seems like he's just naturally been respected just by the way he carries himself. Is that the way you guys feel?
Yeah, definitely. He came in the spring, which was huge for us, obviously, for him to learn the offense in the spring with spring ball and everything, and get that cohesion with the receivers and timing and everything. And he learned the offense really quick, which speaks to his level of football IQ and also his commitment to us and the program. And but just as a person, he's been even more so influential. He's really funny, and he's always there for people, and people are always there for him, and he's fit in really well. And we're glad to have him, and I'm glad to see how well he's done, and I'm sure he's going to have a great future here in his next 3 years as well.
You're the red zone threat. Is that a fun role for you?
Yeah, definitely. Especially the touchdown this Saturday. I was actually only in on that drive for one play, and I scored. So, those guys did a great job. O-line did a great job blocking. The receivers did a great job getting us down there, and then I was lucky enough to be wide open for the touchdown.
I'm sure it's nice as a tight end because your job a lot of times is just kind of banging away and trying to clear some space to get a touchdown where you're not touched.
Yeah.
Is that kind of nice?
Yeah, we're definitely, catch the ball when you're open and just be into the end zone sometimes. When you catch it, it's nice and easy, so not getting hit. But.
Now, tight ends are kind of an extension of the offensive line. When you're on the sideline and you're watching the Cardinal defensive line, and I asked Coach the same thing, are you thankful that you don't have to block these guys because of just how tenacious they are?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Even in camp when we would go against them ones versus ones, early on in camp they kind of took it to us. They're phenomenal up front, and that definitely speaks to Coach Janusek and the defense as a whole and how their system is set up. But there's so many guys that play on the defensive line, and that's awesome for them. Obviously, more people get to play, but it speaks to the depth and the level of talent that they have at that position. And they also are definitely one of the hardest working groups on the team, and they show that every day. And they're also one of the most funny and I don't know how you say it.
They got an interesting
They're a little different.
There's
a different mix of personalities on that defensive line, definitely. I'm glad we don't have to go against them. I'm glad they're on our team.
Yeah,
definitely.
Practice you do, but game-wise you don't. Now, you had a bunch of guys come back this past week for homecoming. I'm sure as an older player on this team, it was fun to see some of those guys come back and watch you guys win 62-7.
Yeah, definitely. I saw in the highlight video that hi Peter, and a lot of the guys were Snapchatting that. Thought it was the funniest thing ever. But Peter Mann, he was actually here for my sophomore year as well because his 5th year was his red shirt, his medical red shirt, and I actually had a great relationship with Peter, and I got to talk to him a little bit after the game at the tailgate and everything, and a lot of other guys too that were there, and it was great to see them all, and I'm sure they were excited that we're doing so well. So
he went from like 280 to like 180 weight-wise. I was like, what?
Yeah.
But let's talk a little bit about Carthage real quick before we get to the quick hits. This is a team that you guys know you're going to be facing a good test against. It's almost like a Wheaton or an Illinois Wesleyan because they played them tight. Going into it, what's the mentality that you guys are taking?
Oh, well, we're extremely focused. We're preparing like it is a Wheaton or a Wesleyan or a big playoff game, and everyone's watching a lot of film, making sure they're know what their assignment is and how to execute, and really studying the game plan, make sure we're all prepared. Like Coach Jeff said, and like you said, it's going to be a great challenge. They're very fast, very physical. It's always difficult playing up there, but it's supposed to be a beautiful day, and I think they have a beautiful facility, so it'll be a lot of fun. We're really excited. So.
No cold wind coming off Lake Michigan this time around, which I'm sure you guys will be happy about. All right, you ready?
Yep.
Quick hits. So 3 questions, nothing to do with football. Here we go. First question, the best costume you saw this past weekend for Halloween?
Oh, definitely. That's an easy one. My roommate and I, so Jason Ochoa is one of my roommates, and we're big Star Wars fans. So I went as Chewbacca, and Jason was Han Solo. So even the height differential was perfect. We took a picture and put it side by side by an old Han Solo
awesome.
Chewbacca picture, and it was great. It was good costumes, and not quite movie quality, but they were pretty funny. So
I might need you to send me that photo so we can put it in the show. Second question, let's go with your favorite actor or actress.
Okay. I guess we could stay with the Star Wars route. A big fan of Natalie Portman and all her productions.
She was also in V for Vendetta, wasn't she?
I don't think I've seen that. She was in Thor.
Thor, that's right.
Yeah, a few others. So
yeah,
big
nice.
fan. So.
All right. And then here's one that's kind of themed. Your favorite Cubs player, either of all time or on this current team.
Oh, okay. It's tough.
There's a lot of fun
there
players
are, definitely.
right now.
I would say Chris Bryant. Tall third baseman.
Do you play baseball in high school?
I did. I played first base. So big Rizzo fan as well.
Yep.
But just how Chris has come up and been a huge part of the team this year. Hopefully he wins MVP, and hopefully they get a win tonight. So
yeah, we are taping.
Oh, sorry.
Wednesday. No. We are. It's fine. We are taping Wednesday afternoon, so we don't know yet.
Yep.
We're holding our breaths right now.
Go Cubbies.
But yeah, go Cubs. Also holding our breath on the win against Carthage. Good luck up in Kenosha. Thanks for stopping by.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. We're going to take a break. The Cardinal Corner is on deck. We'll be right back on the Red Zone.
This Red Zone segment is sponsored by Belgio's Catering.
With the fall season coming to a close, it's time to look ahead and check out what the winter season has to offer. Let's start with basketball. The men's team is coming into 2016 with a deep and young team. Ranked 13th by D3Hoops.com, the Cardinals have earned national respect before ever taking the floor. Alex Sorensen and Connor Reardon are back as the top options offensively, while Jagger Anderson returns to direct traffic for Todd Reardon's squad. Last year ended with a first-round exit in the playoffs. This year, the Cards will aim for a deep run in the postseason. You want to talk about respect? The women's basketball team has certainly earned it over the last few years. Now it needs to take that next step and challenge for the conference title. They made it to the CCIW championship game 2 years ago, even making the national tournament, and they could do the same this year. Led by Mason Whipple and Jamie Cooney among a deep, fast, and sharp-shooting roster, NCC looks to start quick, but will have to do it on the road, with 11 of the first 13 games coming away from Gregory Arena. Wrestling capped the year by sending a trio of athletes to Iowa for the national meet. 2 of those guys returned, and the Cardinals will look to develop a balanced team around them. Leighton Binion and Ben Williamson will grace the mats again on the second floor of Murner. Oh, and don't forget about Amante Logan, the dominant defensive tackle for the football team. The junior will wrestle at 285, and if it goes anything like this season on the gridiron, he may end up on the mat in Iowa come season's end. To the pool, and the men's and women's swimming and diving team look to continue to build in year number 2 under Mark Schmidt. Julie Albright is now a senior and should challenge for a few first-place finishes in meets. She'll be joined by Nikki Banis and Grace Miller, who have both contended incredibly well during the inaugural women's triathlon season. For the men, Trey Bennington, Nick Slinkman, Jacob Niesmeyer, and Luke Gentile all return, and they'll be joined by 4 new freshmen. While numbers seem to have been an issue last year, the sizable class puts the Cardinals in position to be more competitive, hoping to return to the glory days of national champions past. We'll take a look at men's and women's track and field when it gets a little closer to New Year's. It's time for this week's Play of the Game. This time, let's give it to the most unconventional play in the big win against Carroll. He's nearly perfect on the season on extra points, but he's now 1 for 1 on 2-point conversions. Liam Crotty crosses the goal line after the pitch from Dylan Warden. Mr. Crotty, you've earned this week's Red Zone Play of the Game.
Pitch out to Liam Crotty, and Liam Crotty is into the end zone for the 2-point conversion.
It's time for our weekly sit-down with North Central Sports Information Director Clark Tusher. And Clark, I got your email just moments before we went on air. The men's cross-country team, number 1 as they head towards nationals. And I know they don't pay a lot of attention to that stuff, but it has to be a good indicator that they should not just be competitive at nationals, but they're right now the favorite.
Well, I think it helps a little bit in terms of expecting, more of themselves. they want to prove that they've earned what people are saying about them. So I think there is a little bit of attention being paid to it, but like you said, they're more focused on their routine and their performance at the big meets. So certainly a perfect score at your conference championship, which they were able to do on Saturday for the 8th time during this 43-year run of conference titles. It certainly bodes well. They got solid performances out of a lot of different guys, and they're going to go into a very competitive regional meet, perhaps the most competitive regional meet in the country at the Division III level. As the favorite going in, which it doesn't hurt. Everybody likes to be number one.
Now, speaking of postseason action, women's soccer, we're taping Wednesday afternoon, so they have a game tonight. They're in the CCIW tournament, and to get in was kind of a hurdle that they've had to clear. Is there hope that this team could take that next step?
Well, this is kind of the start of that. And raising that level of expectation. Okay, we got here. Now let's do something. Let's prove that we belong here. And they just played Wheaton a week and a half earlier and lost 2-0. But it was a fairly close game for most of it. They want to prove that they didn't just get lucky, that they're a legitimate factor in the conference race. And I think for the ones that'll be coming back next year, I think this is the start of a forward movement in terms of the program with a new coaching staff.
Now, one other program that's moving up, because there's really nowhere to go aside from up, is the Triathlon Team, because this is its first year, and they look very good, and now they're heading to nationals this weekend. They'll
be traveling to New Orleans. They have 3 entries in the race. It's a maximum of 75 competitors, so it's a pretty exclusive event. This is the first time that they've had a collegiate championship, so it's really kind of hard to know what to expect. I think the real goal is just to get down there and kind of absorb the atmosphere and get out there and compete and see where you stack up with the 11 or so other schools in the country that have a varsity triathlon program. So I think the real focus there is just on establishing that as an expectation. We want to be able to send a team to nationals every year once it's grown and developed and involves more institutions. So definitely a great step forward and a great benchmark for the first year of the program.
Now let's go from a bunch of sports at year's end to sports that haven't quite gotten underway. They're in the preseason. I know they're practicing right now, and they're a couple of weeks away. Men's and women's basketball, they both have a lot of expectations on them. Men's basketball in particular was just ranked in the preseason polls, and they return a lot of people on this team.
Yeah, about 6 of the 8 guys who played a lot last year will be back, and they've got 3 or 4 individuals who have come in this year between freshmen and transfers that they think have a chance to join that rotation. We'll have to kind of see how that plays out. They typically play a few more guys early in the season than they do once they get into conference play, just to kind of figure out which combinations of players will work best together. But they certainly got a great nucleus to build from with guys like Alex Sorensen and Connor Raridan, who were the mainstays for them last year.
Women's basketball team, we know they like numbers because they run such a fun offense. They got some numbers this past year in the way of the freshman class. So is Michelle Roof pretty confident that this group has the numbers it needs to support the offense?
It takes a lot of people to play the way they want to play, and they want to make sure that anybody they put out there is going to be competent to help them further along. They're not just taking up space while the other players get rest. They want to make sure that they're contributing. So getting a lot of players in and giving them chances to figure out ways that they're going to contribute, whether it's on offense or defense or ball handling, what have you. They're really going to have their opener kind of an interesting matchup against Piedmont College out of North Carolina. They actually run a pretty up-tempo system themselves.
Interesting.
And won 20 games last year. So they're going to challenge themselves right away. And I think that one's we're going to have to make sure the lights on the scoreboard are all functioning, because we may give them a heavy workout that night.
We'll also hear Lucas Mitzel, a lot of 3-pointers.
Yeah, we'll have to get him some herbal tea or something to make sure to keep the pipes in order.
Well, Clark, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's all the time we have on this episode of the Red Zone. The Cardinal football team travels north to Kenosha this Saturday to take on Carthage. The Redmen come in 6-2 on the season. The Cardinals 8-0. I'm Kevin Jackman. We'll see you next week on a brand new episode of the Red Zone.